I said I would never. I cannot imagine what kind of a parent I thought in my head would do that, would abandon. Because at this point, I was super autism mom. I was going to do the 40 hours of Lovaas ABA. I was going to change it with diet, with medication, with not sleeping 24/7. I felt it was my job to get the resources, the help, the proper programming. My experience is slightly different in that I have 2 children with autism. I actually have 4 altogether, 2 neurotypical children, and then 2 that are classified as severely autistic, but one has turned out to be verbal, can verbally communicate, and my other son has not. In the back of my head, I was also realizing that I was managing this family. I had 2 children that needed me, and that residential was possibly going to be, something that we were going to have to sadly look into as time went on. And of course, that did come to fruition, and I feel that transition for my boys was a lot easier. They were still going to their same school, just at the end of the day, rather than getting on the bus, they went, across the quad, into their own room. Were still able to see me, to come home on the weekends and to visit. I could still be a part of their life, and it was just a better situation for all of us. My oldest son has graduated from Tradewinds. He has been in residential for several years now, and it's been incredibly successful. He took the gains that he made here at Tradewinds. His behavior had been so severe, biting, hitting, pulling hair to parents, to siblings. It was really out of control. Broken windows in my home. It was not a safe situation. That was within a year or 2 in the residential program here, in the school program, having that consistency, that 24/7, where everything was predictable in a way that it really can't be in a family home. Huge improvements in his behavior. And it continued. He's been able to build on that and build on that. His communication has gotten better. His transition into his adult placement, just continually every year, I'm amazed at where we are right now with him. It's not just the skills, it's his quality of life. Connor is able to go out into the community. He has a great life. I get text messages from him. He's at Carmela's, having appetizers at 10 o'clock. He's going to the movies. He's out in the community. He has a better social life than I do. He has great relationships with his roommates, with staff, and he has a life that is full of meaning. It's all I could have hoped for him. His other autistic brother is just in the baby steps of making this transition from Tradewinds into adult residential. Also, he had the challenge of COVID prior to getting his adult placement. So there was some isolation during that period. It also delayed the adult placement, moving into the residence. It was delayed a little bit. It was very rough. It has not been an easy transition over the past few months. We were talking, this was just a few months ago. But over the past few weeks, I'm seeing incredible improvements where we're coming back to, where we were, regaining some of that lost ground. I'm just eternally grateful to this program. I don't know what we would have done without it. Quite honestly, I don't think I would still be here. I couldn't have physically and emotionally survived as a parent to, these 4 kids without UCP and without Tradewinds. And ironically, I look back to years ago, which seems like more than a lifetime ago, my first visit to the Promise program, coming to terms with the fact that my oldest child had autism and was going to require, not what I had envisioned for him in his lifetime. And I remember leaving the program and being a little bit emotional over what I had seen. It was very discrete, trial-based. I had never heard of this. It was mechanical, it was cold. And I looked out across there were the residences, and I said, well, what are those buildings over there? And the director said, well, those are the residences for Tradewinds, for the older children who, when they can't be, live safely at home. And I remember the indignation I felt. And I said, I cannot imagine what kind of a parent I thought in my head would do that, would abandon. Because at this point, I was super autism mom. I was going to do the 40 hours of Lovaas ABA. I was going to change it with diet, with medication, with not sleeping 24/7. I felt it was my job to get the resources, the help, the proper programming. So I find that kind of ironic that what I initially feared ended up being the saving grace, and what has contributed so much to what I see is the success of my boys. And I am just as more proud, in fact, of their successes than I am. My typically developing children are wonderful and smart, and they're doing fantastic in their lives, but what their brothers have overcome, is just amazing. And I'm so grateful to this program for everything that it's done for our family.
I remember my wife and I used to joke about, they used almost the same expression, that Kristen had a better social life
Yes.
than we did.
Yes.
I remember us even joking about that.
And it's a
She
wonderful
was going
feeling.
places, doing things.
Yes.
And here we were sitting at home worrying how things were going,
I'm having a boring afternoon and I'm getting pictures from the sunflower field,
Exactly.
So yes, I'm hoping that, like I said, with my younger son just transitioning out of trade winds into his adult life, it's rocky right now, but it's been a few months. We have a great team, and the agency is being just incredibly super supportive of, finding ways to make him successful. Oh, I have no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.